Just gonna do a real quick look around. Spring has sprung here. With my lens. Got a lot of stuff coming up. This mulberry, you can see, has got a lot of fruit coming in. It got a little hurt because it got warm. This thing started putting out buds, and then it got cold, like a 30-degree freeze with freezing rain and ice. But it's definitely coming along. I got the we added a few pomegranates. That's a new pomegranate. That's a 1 year. That one's been in the ground 1 year. And then there's just one more over here that are new, and they're it's just right on the other side of that one. Now let's go look at it. So that one's been in the ground 2 years. That one produces quite a bit. That's the one I just got. Although those were in big 24-inch boxes. Those ones are taken right off. This peach tree is always loaded, and this year's gonna be no exception. It's just, the more you look, the more you see. There's tons of peaches. That one's always really early. This apium looks like it's gonna have some, maybe not quite as many as I would like, but a lot of them are right in here on the branches, as you can see. So that one put out quite a bit. It seemed like the weather was a little funny on these, but it's still flowering, so there might be more to come. This isn't a fruit tree, but you can see a lot of oak leaves and growth on that oak tree. Pear will be late. It always is. Nectarines are pretty early, and this one flowered up briefly and then immediately got pollinated. The bees are very active right now, so a lot of nectarines coming in. Cherries looking pretty stunning, I think. These trees have really gotten thick in the trunk fast. Both of them. Both these two cherries that pollinate each other here. The mini royal and the royal Lee. Doesn't look like any of these are all the way pollinated yet, but this is actually a perfect example of why you need to get two cherry trees that are kind of matched. This one's flowering, that one's flowering. This one isn't self-pollinating, that one's not self-pollinating. They pollinate each other. They're 10 feet apart, and likely a bee hits here and then goes here, and maybe back and forth is how they're gonna get pollinated. Yeah, some of these look like maybe, but it's just a little early. I'm sure they're gonna come through. The nectarine's loaded. Again, this one always gets pretty loaded up. Lots of nectarines in here. Looks like the apricot's gonna be a little slow starting, but we got quite a bit of leaves coming through. This is the donut peach, is just killer. I mean, the whole thing is flowers. And then right behind it, Santa Rosa Plum. A lot of flowers. And one more Santa Rosa Plum. A lot of flowers. And that 4-in-1 plum over there, a lot of flowers. And this, I'm a little fuzzy on this tree. That's a green plum. Forget the exact name. I don't remember if this is a peach or a nectarine. It looks like a peach based on the flower color, but it could be either one. This apple tree will be a little late, normal. This is a 4-in-1. A lot of flowers. Looks like this branch is maybe a little late. I'm actually gonna sample right here. Yeah, it's still green. I think it's just taking a little more time. It's not dead. The 2 almonds over got off real immediately. I mean, they were some of the first ones. So right now it's like March 20th, 21st, something like that. These things were in bloom a month ago, like in February. So you can see a lot of almonds coming through. They just flowered up really early. Pistachios are late to the party, and the walnuts are as well. That's normal. And then let's go take a quick look at the citrus. Looks like the up here, that fig is coming through. I did add a pear up here. Gosh, it's so tiny you really can't even see it. But I got a 4-in-1 pear. it was bare root. That one hasn't done much yet. And then I added one more like these, the loquats. So those 2 big Jim loquats, and there's 2 more traditional style loquats. Back out here. I pruned the grapes back big time. The grapes woke up real early, as you can see. And you know, I let them get a little wild. They got away from me a little bit last time. So I'm really just trying to get them cleaned up. And I added this one. This is a blueberry grape from Dave Wilson Nursery. So we'll see how that one does. If that one does well and it tastes good, I'll get some more. Now this sucker here, this Mandarin, this thing put off so much fruit. It was like, I gave so much fruit away to so many people. It was crazy. And you can see there's even still a few rotten hanging on there. So extreme production on this one. And then we got this, I think that this one's a Kishu mini Mandarin, struggling a little. You see the gopher holes aren't helping. Ice plant's popping though. And then this Meyer Lemon is the only one to outproduce that Mandarin. This thing is breaking branches. I was down here looking at it earlier, but the bees were all over the thing. So, and they still are. I can still hear them. Less though. I mean, all new stuff, last year's stuff. There's lemons, Meyer lemons everywhere. And then this stuff down here is doing pretty well. Apples flowered up about a week ago, maybe a couple weeks ago. Got some apples coming in. So overall, stuff is growing. I'm gonna pause. We'll take a look up at some of the newer stuff I planted. So here's the loquat I just put in. I'm actually gonna stake it, but it was pretty nice. $30 tree. It's the big old mulberry, Pakistani mulberry. So this is that bare root. I don't know. That's our first real bud right there. We did get that freeze. I'm sure that didn't help it. I added a little bit of dragon fruit. Check a few of those out. Not much to look at yet. Next year. And then, I forget the name of this thing. It was a Spice Z nectarine, I believe. Pretty cool. It comes in purple flowers. Turns a little bit greener later. And then the loquats are evergreen. They shot right off. There's fruit all over these. One's almost getting ripe there. So these ones are another plentiful harvest, and they pretty much always are. Lots of stuff coming through. Lots and lots and lots. All right, now to the back where the new stuff is. Oh, and P.S. I pre-ran all these stub outs, and I got ready to do this is going to be a drip system for grapevines. Talked about it for a while. I want to do like a vineyard right here in the front when you come in from the street. I don't know what type of grape yet. I just really wanted to get the irrigation pre-run. Oh, and here's a fun mention. This one didn't have a great year last year. I believe this is the Elephant Heart Plum, I want to say. Yeah, I think that's what it is. So this is a very late season plum. And last year it was new. This year I believe we're going to get some more fruit out of it. So that one's supposed to be like an August fruit. That one will be fun. Oh, and this thing. This Tangelos just blew up. I mean, it just... In the past year, the growth out of this tree has been huge. I mean, it's just going nuts. In fact, there's some ripe Tangelos on there. I'm going to grab one. This one's been partially eaten, so I'm going to grab that one. This one right here, a little small. It's going to have some good flavor. These are tangy, so I'm going to grab one more too. They're actually really cool for juicing. It makes some It's like zingy orange juice. It's almost like a Tang, like what Tang would be, except natural, real juice, not just sugar. So that one's been going nuts. And these few up here are struggling a little because they're the newest plantings over in this area. That one's doing great. That one struggled a bit, but now we're on the well water. We've been on the well water for about 6 months. And of course, the time of the season, this is where they shoot out new growth anyway, but I just have a lot more expectations are going to be quite a bit higher now that we're on the well water. So that one's making its way. I'm going to jump in here and we'll get rolling. And how could I forget? So that's a Satsuma that's doing good. That tree really struggled. And I'm not exactly sure why. But it seems like all the growth is below the joint where it was grafted. So probably that one's a goner. This one is, you can see I'm working on the weeds. It's engulfed right now, but a lot of good growth. And this is also a Satsuma. In fact, these are overly ripe, so I'm gonna pull these. These are the easiest peeling oranges ever right here. And then that's the pink lemonade, which I trimmed a lot. It was hard to access. I couldn't really keep a good eye on the water, and now it looks like it's definitely happier. The reason I came over here, I added this whole row of olive trees. They are fruiting olive. I'm not sure if I'll have enough time and ambition and dedication to make olive oil or something. But they're nice trees. They're attractive. And I planted them close enough where this is going to become they'll all grow together and it'll be almost more of a hedge than anything. And that's just to get, well, as you can see, some privacy back. So just wanted to reference, you know, I only really document the fruit stuff once a year, and sometimes I forget myself at how much stuff changed. But just getting a good look at these here. Small, 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 bigger, 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 and all the way down. So you can get a good look here if you want. This one's a little bit of a different style than this one. In fact, these are older trees that I had planted before, but they were a little too close to the property line, so I was having some problems. So I actually moved them. I dug them up and moved them. It was kind of a nightmare, but they're moved now, and as you can see, they are safe. So in fact, I'm looking at these. I may up the water a little on those. The weather all of a sudden changed drastically. It was like 85 degrees today, and last week it was like 50 for a high. Just nuts. So got some work to do. All right, now we're really gonna go back to the other ones. All right, quick mention. You'll notice this dirt looks all disturbed. So what I did was I added 6 more stations, irrigation stations. 2 of them I punched over here. One is for the drip. One more I brought back there. You can see that white pipe. So I pre-installed that because I want to put rows of avocados there. I haven't worked out the details, but I'm thinking ahead as to having the avocados back in that area. So that's where the avocados will go. So check these out. This kumquat, I've given a ton of fruit away to a lot of people. A couple of the neighbors one of the neighbors has a couple of twins, like almost 3 years old. They come over here and pick it like once a week, and there's still tons. On the back, you can see they're picking this side. There's still a ton on that side. So this tree has just been killer. But this tree is like no other tree I've gotten yet. This tree was only planted 2 years ago, and you know, it's quickly approaching 10 feet tall. It's just nuts how crazy it's gone. And you can see there's a lot of bees around here right now, and they're not honeybees actually. They look like bumblebees. So that's kind of funny. a little bit of a mix actually. But you can see it's just loaded with new buds and flowers and pollinated fruit and flowers that aren't pollinated and existing lemons and lemons that are ripe and dropping on the ground. This thing is just, it's just nuts. I mean, that tree is just a beast for being in the ground 2 years. And this lime, Kefir lime, they still smell great. Still don't really eat them. Is just doing great too, killing it. And then I forget which types these were, but extremely healthy, budding right up. I think this is a pink car or maybe a blood orange. Doing great. Doing really good too, but not maybe quite as good as that last one. You can see a lot of new growth here. And then, here's where we kind of were struggling. You know, I planted these a couple years ago when we weren't on the well, and I think what really happened is the irrigation source is over there. I think by the time it was getting here, it was just, these were more prone to clogging up these sprinkler heads. And I just think these went dry too often. Hey, I'm right here, what's wrong? Silly. I'm hoping to save this one. Trim some of the dead stuff off. And unfortunately, this last one is a Kishu mini Mandarin, which are really nice seedless fruit, but I think it's just done. Because again, a lot of it died. There's a lot of new growth here, but the problem is this is coming from below the graft union. So again, I don't even know what these are going to be. These are probably not going to be a Kishu mini Mandarin because it was more than likely grafted onto, I don't know, a lemon or something. You can see there's thorns. So this one's a goner, unfortunately. I did lose some good trees since the last update. Mainly my fault. Just being too busy to really give them the attention they need. And you know, that's the thing. If these don't get water for 2-3 weeks straight in the summer, that ground gets so dry, they may not recover from that. So I need to be more on it, but I'm also giving myself a little bit of leeway. I'm kind of overwatering these. Not to the point where they're damaging them, but I'm giving them more water than ever before. And they seem to like it, but at least that way if I have a little problem, hopefully there's enough water saturation in the ground where I can, by the time I catch it, they're not dead or really hurt. And also making more of a point to do a walk and check the trees now that I'm not building this construction. That was for 2 years. So, okay, one more stop. All right, so our last couple stops here. These grapevines were nuts crazy last year. I mean, just insane. What I did was I let them grow all up into here, and there were grapes hanging here. And I mean, you could be sitting having dinner and reach up and grab grapes. And I thought it was the coolest thing. And you can see I just pruned them a couple days ago, so they're actually putting a little bit of water out on the ends. Kind of funny to see. But this is really the problem. As the grapes would start to hang, the birds were coming in, the birds were getting them, the birds would bite them, they'd drop, and all of a sudden it started leaving stains on all of our stone patio, and it was even attracting like mice. The mice would come and run up, and then there was mice all up there. So I love the grapes. We're definitely going to keep them, but I'm going to keep them here. I'm not going to let them go this way. You know, just hanging right here more for the look, and so we can have a little bit of grapes. But it was, I mean, they were just spectacular last year until the fruit was ripe and there was a mess everywhere. So you can see I really pruned these pretty extensively. And they'll hang down and they'll give a little bit of shade. Hello. Okay, and then the last stop is this tree and those ones. So this 4-in-1 citrus cocktail is a little bit of a confusing tree. So the lemon aspect of this tree has been pretty consistent. You know, you can see that that's new lemon growth. These are all lemon buds. A lot of lemon flowers. Plenty of lemons. Oh, that's what they were digging. You were digging. Were you digging? But the orange aspect of the tree has been a little lacking until I feel like this year it's starting to really get with it. This one's been in the ground like almost, like probably 4 years. So these are all orange buds. I don't think that I have 4 fruit anymore. I think I really only have 2. I think I have the lemon and I have these, which are, I believe, a navel orange, Washington navel. So this tree is doing better than it has. It's a little over 6 feet. It could use a little shaping, but for a while it just wasn't really doing much. It seems like everything has responded well to the well water. And then this one, kind of the same thing. It seems to me like this is another 4-in-1 citrus cocktail. It seems to me these trees, oh, it looks like I got a little mole trouble on this one. Bummer. Hopefully that's not hurting it, or a gopher. Yeah, it's a little weak. I think that thing's gonna be chewing at its roots. So similar with these, the lemons just took over, and this back here is the orange branches, and they're okay, not great. The lemons off this tree are actually great. They're huge and they're good, better than the other tree. Like, just look at this one. That's a big eureka right there. But the growth of this one, I feel like it hasn't quite hit its spurt yet like the other one. Hopefully it does soon, although I'm going to dig down and figure out what's going on with that gopher activity there. And then last and kind of least, I planted this whole row of these kumquats, and they're doing okay. It seems like this one's doing good. It seems like they kind of go from good to worse a little bit. But again, I've upped the levels of water, and I do think that they're responding well. They look a little pale, so I think actually I got to come and bump up the fertilizer on these. And I did actually do a little bit more. I do the Job's Organic, like citrus specific, has the right ratios of things. And it seemed like they were doing pretty well, but it seems like they're dying off a little in the dark green. They're kind of getting a little pale. So I'm gonna put some more stuff. I guess the only real reason I would say I wouldn't do these again is the kumquats were a really cool fruit when you first try them, and then when these are here every year all the time and there's more than enough, it's kind of like, I don't really want a kumquat. So I'd probably put something in here that was more appetizing for us personally. But I think as they get a little bit bigger, I'll probably cut them off at 3 feet and just keep it like a 3-foot hedge. It'd still be pretty neat. So, all right, there's the update. A lot of update, and probably won't update again for like a year.